There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits, or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.
Welcome everyone to the Tuesday version of the software strategy session with Auvoria. My name is Steve Vetterl, the firm's, what would I call myself? I guess I have to be the risk manager, although I need to find a different name. Do me a favor, somebody could hit me up on Telegram via DM. That would be great. Make sure the stream is okay. I have not installed the chat window, so I think as soon as I just minimize or maximize the screen, you guys could see the charts and so forth. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today, we're just getting settled in essentially here in Florida. All right, so I guess let's double check. It's blurry. So you guys are seeing the Forex Factory screen okay? I guess what would I do if it's blurry? Maybe go in and adjust the settings somewhere. I haven't had too much time. I'm using a computer that has not been optimized for this because nobody's gone in and worked on my screen. Better now? Okay. But now I'm not showing anything, right? So let's go back to the charts. So how's that? To see a chart of the S&P. Let me jump back into the Forex Factory. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right. Any case, just trying to get this all optimized. I have a whole bunch of different computers, and a couple of the tech guys have logged in and actually set it up for me, but not on this new laptop. So, okay, cool. Yeah, no worries. It's real time. So in any case, I think the thing that has probably come as a surprise to the marketplace is the fact that the narrative, if you will, of potential interest rate increases has somewhat cooled out. And honestly, I think it would probably be in the best interest of all central banks to just come out to the marketplace and give them the communication to the effect of, hey, we're going to do everything in our power outside of massive interest rate increases so that we can facilitate the curbing of inflation. And I could certainly speak to this, as many Americans could probably agree with this. I mean, just in our marketplace, which is Central Florida, there has been just a ridiculous increase in the price of used cars. I mean, some of them are up 30% for junk. So, I mean, inflation's a real thing, and it's certainly hitting Americans at the gas pump and in almost every other facet and sector of purchasing that they could come up with. So, I think it would behoove whoever, the administration, central banks, any of the knuckleheads in DC, as I call them, to, really come out with some clear rhetoric on how we can address this instead of just saying, oh, well, it's supply chain disruptions and that they will be, solved, right? Here's another great example. I was just at the body shop because we had a minor accident on the way to Florida, and I needed to get a front fender replaced on a vehicle. And the particular vehicle was, I mean, when I brought it into the body shop, the guy's like, good luck getting parts for this thing. He goes, we're looking at 3 or 4 of the same vehicles, and you can't get parts until June. I was like, what, are you kidding me? So they agreed to search the used market, or used OEM, I should say, for the car. It's the same part, it just needs to be refinished. So that sort of solves this, but in almost everything I've done, ordering stuff on Amazon, I mean, you name it, stuff's out of stock. That's like, and I don't think this is any news to anybody listening to this, but I mean, it really is beginning to weigh heavily, if you will, on voters, right? The constituency. I mean, the people that put our politicians in place. And even though this may be a bit of a redundant conversation, I find it odd that the media chooses to focus on war, right? And all of the juxtapositioning that Putin is putting in place. And if anybody understands strategic and or risk management, knows that he has for many, many years always played a game of chess with the globe. You know, if he wants somebody to come to the table, he just mounts troops essentially at the border of whatever country, right? And then eventually he forces whoever to come to the table in most cases. So, I would see right through those games. So, but, as many of you may know, equity markets are rallying tremendous today on, on this news. So, essentially, if you look at, even though I'm on the Forex Factory screen, let's jump back. It's funny, even though we rallied a bunch, it still seems like a dead cat bounce. So let's take a look at the dollar. I'm not going to go into the All right, so dollar pulling back, obviously on maybe a less aggressive rhetoric from central banks as far as raising rates. Going into euro, and a lot of this isn't really changed that much from a fairly lengthy discussion I had about this on Saturday. If you guys were tuning in, if not, watch the recording. GBP still stuck, not much different. Canadian dollar, yen, see, not much has changed here if you guys haven't been through these charts. And these are all daily views. Euro GBP, a little bit more of an interesting movement here in the last. I mean, if you look at, I know a lot of you don't trade this, but this currency has had quite the decline. Obviously, no surprise, strength inside the pound. But then it just came back and ripped a quick move. It's very, very odd move, but it's all in relation to what's going on in the other areas. Noted again, potential breakout rejection in gold. Let's see what else is standing out today. A little bit of strength in crypto. Those that haven't seen the equity markets, pushing up a little bit against this. The only thing in relation to the S&P 500 or the futures markets or anybody that's trading any of these in some sort of different form on the MT4 platform. We're probably one day into a cross. So if you see this moving average here, we've crossed over. There are a lot of people that read into these crosses as quite poor. I don't read into it a lot unless there's some significant follow through, right? We've had maybe things are cooling out in Ukraine, which is probably the big chunk of the reason for most of this movement down here. And obviously rip in the dollar. So if I take a quick look at this chart, we go right to the DXY. We have essentially that. Actually, hang on one second. I want to take a look at another chart. So let me just actually hang on one second. I'll take a closer look at this chart on another system. Bear with me a minute here. Okay, back. Did not find what I was looking for. So we will continue on, as they say in the auto auction world. The bid goes on. What else do I want to? I don't really have much to add. I mean, it's really the problem is we could go on and on about talking for different stuff, and it's just seems like I probably, in terms of looking at these markets, which I don't really have much more to add about this on this week's call. I think we just need to get some clarity surrounding this whole Ukraine thing. It's almost like the whole world's like, because I mean, taking trades on days like today, at least from a risk management standpoint, or anything this week, it's a complete crapshoot. I mean, literally at any minute. I know this seems ridiculous. You'd want to sit on the edge of a table, wait for something like this to break, but literally any minute, anybody could come on and say, "Oh, push Putin's talks with whoever broke down the U.S. or any of the bordering countries to Russia, whatever. Whoever the engaged party is that's relevant to this geoly unstable deal, right? Geoly, I kind of like this, like a new word. Could completely disrupt the markets, right? Dollar could rip, which typically happens in these types of moves. Why? It's a store of value, and as a couple of the comments are coming across on Telegram to me, I mean, it's like everybody's just sort of waiting for something to happen. There always will be times like this in the future, and quite frankly, I just have client meetings. We're going about as we normally would as an investment firm. We're not just sitting around calling clients, hey, we think the equity market could completely crash on potential war. I usually, when the bombs start falling, and this is a terrible phrase, but it's true. When the bombs start falling, market rallies. Talk about the equity market, right? Just usually push the dollar down. So that's really the only advice I have this week, as I kind of mentioned on the weekend call. I'm just not doing much this week. The beauty of some of our software, if you will, like Panther or some of the other programs that are just hopefully taking trades based on very, very stringent criteria during these periods of times. You guys always have the ability to pause or stop these programs, right? So just keep that in mind. If you didn't know and you don't want to trade this week, I wouldn't hold it against you. I wouldn't force a hand, if you will. Let maybe the next couple of days play out. Typically, when one forces the hand during these periods of time is usually when you get clobbered because you're just trying to force a trade. It's really that simple. So anything you guys want to see while we're sort of waiting for things to go down? And since I'm have a lot more time than the craziness of literally the last month for us in terms of our move and so forth, I could begin to post more stuff on Telegram. So I would say just continue to build out, if you would please, the groups, so I have a larger audience to yell out to from the mountaintops. And I will wish you guys a great week of trading. And hopefully may the good trades only be with you. But feel free to sit on your hands, because believe it or not, cash is a position. Be well.
There is a substantial risk of loss associated with trading Forex, binary options, stocks, or equities, collectively, asset classes. Only risk capital should be used for trading. Trading in any asset classes is not appropriate for everyone. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. No representation is being made that investors will make profits or will not sustain losses. Before trading in any asset classes, investors should consult with their professional broker, financial advisor, or financial consultant to determine whether trading asset classes is appropriate. Investors who trade in any asset classes should only do so if the capital used for this purpose represents funds that an investor can afford to lose without adversely impacting the investor's lifestyle. No trading strategy or methodology is without risk of loss. No trading strategy is risk-free, and no trading strategy can guarantee profits or freedom from losses. Investors risk losing the cost to execute any transaction, including associated commissions or fees. You should carefully consider whether trading in any asset class is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. None of the statements or materials in the Auvoria Prime chat rooms constitute a solicitation or recommendation to buy or sell.